Age disease, attachment. To find yourself attached to a person means to find yourself unable to continue living unless he is present in your life. In order to get rid of this attachment, there is something very simple, very easy, that you can do. It only requires you to have the will, determination, and a real desire to get rid of this attachment. But before we get into how to get rid of it, let me tell you why in the first place you find yourself suddenly becoming attached to a person. The first reason, one, is that he considers him more important than you, meaning you give him a very large size that is greater than the size you give yourself. The second insult, two, that automatically makes you relate to anyone. It is that you assume that someone will always stay with you. As soon as you feel and reassure that a certain person can never leave you, you start giving him all your feelings. The third reason, three, that makes you relate to someone is that you are fighting for them. You should know that when you put in too much effort to make someone happy, to be with someone, it is very difficult to accept that you will walk away from that person. Why? Because you don't want to waste the great effort you've made. Fourth reason, four, what makes you become attached to a person is that you compromise. I mean, when you find yourself conceding for him, you find yourself in pain for him, you find yourself underestimating your value and your generosity and therefore this makes you relate to him. How? Because you never accept the idea that he has already reduced your generosity. You lie to yourself so you don't feel pain. Thus, this makes you stick to it more and relate to it more. In order to be able to untie this attachment, you must know, my friend and my friend as well, that the problem is based on you and not that person. The first thing you must realize is that you are really attached to him. You must admit to yourself that I am attached to this person. And you must realize besides her that this is bad. I mean, when you feel that you really don't tell yourself how to make him never leave me. Doesn't he get away from me at all? But you must ask yourself, how do I get rid of this attachment? The idea here is to start working on changing yourself and not changing the person, because most of the people involved always try to change the other person, and they don't try to change themselves. That's why I want you to do something very important, to assume the worst thing that could happen. What is the worst thing that could happen to that person to whom it is related? Can go away. Can leave you. It can disappear from your life. It may never come back to you. You may find yourself alone. Suppose this is the case, then after that I want you to try to accept it. And I want you to try to convince that there is no problem, that it is very normal. This happens, this is life, this is what happens. If you can't get past this stage and accept the idea that that person could actually leave your life. But with that, you can keep yourself, you can go on with your life, making sure that you will always be attached to him. The second thing I want you to take care of so that you can detach from anyone is to try to give value to yourself. How? Self-esteem. I want you to put yourself above your head and not under your feet. How do? When you think about that person you are attached to and feel pain, it means that that person treats you badly, it means that that person reduces your generosity, it means that that person is harming you in some way. But in spite of all this you still continue to deal with it very well. I want you not to do that. I want you to tell yourself, underestimate my values. I have to stop, I won't talk to him, I won't call him, I won't go with him. Next time they tell me such and such to my face I will send it to him, I will tell him no. I will never allow you to treat me this way. I want you to cherish yourself a little. Well, I want you to be a little cocky, I want you to think a little selfishly. Of course, you may think that this is not correct. But believe me, this is correct. Why? Because you totally miss him. The person attached to the other person is someone who is completely missing out. What is the meaning of self-esteem? A person who does not see himself, sees only the other person. I want you to see yourself a little, I want you to look at yourself. Look at you, you have lived many years of fatigue, effort. There are people in your family who sacrificed for you, studied, worked, did so many things in your life. Do not allow that person you are attached to insult you and accept that just because you are attached to him. If you really want to untie the rope, do these things. Number 1, assume the worst thing that can happen in your relationship with that person and accept it. Also, I want you to always remember your self-esteem and put yourself above your head. Tell me in the comments below the video, what is your problem with attachment to the settings? How did you get to this stage? And what do you really feel inside?